We all know that keeping horses fit and injury-free is a fine art. We've come to meet Equitop Myoplast brand ambassador Scott Brash, who has a team of horses competing at the top level. We've come to find out how he keeps them fit in between competition, and we were treated to a masterclass where he shows us the work that he does with young horses in between shows to keep them fit and ready to compete. Scott, it must be nigh on impossible to always prevent injuries in your top horses, but what can people do to try and keep them as injury-free as possible?
I think there's many things that you can do to help prevent things, but I mean, even like when you're riding a horse or turning a horse out in a field or whatever, whatever you're doing, I think they should be booted up, bandaged up. You know, my horses wear overreach boots, bandages, front and back. They try and wrap them up in cotton wool if you like, If you're turning them out, I think you can take a walk around your paddocks, make sure the fencing is all correct, make sure the ground is good. And these are things that you can it's common sense things to do to help prevent injuries.
Yeah, and we're here just having a little bit of a cuddle with Sanctos, and he has had a bit of an injury. Tell us how he is now and what you've been doing with him.
Yeah, he picked up an injury start of the season, and yeah, I mean, he's back in full work now, but I've really been taking my time, probably taking double the time than what I probably need to bring him back, because I just want to make sure we're very patient and slow in what we do. So yeah, he's been getting built up over the last three months anyway, So he's still got another month or so before he's actually at a big competition, This is Hello Mr. President, or Junior as we call him in the stables. He's a 7-year-old gelding. I think he's going to be a really good horse for the future, and I have high hopes for him.
He's very handsome.
Yeah, he's.
Does he know it?
Yeah, I think he knows it. He's. When we first got him, he was scared of his own shadow, really. But now he's really matured up a lot, and yeah, it's just something that takes time. Every horse is different, but he's quite scared of things. I mean, he's really improved a lot in the last couple of years.
Okay, well, we'll let you get on with walking him and trotting and getting warmed up.
Okay.
When you say that he's scared of things, Scott, how do you crack those kind of problems? I guess a lot of people would have the same issues with horses, young horses particularly.
Yeah, well, I think it's first of all, I think you have to be patient. I think patience is so important with young horses and older horses. It's important in all your riding, really. But yeah, I guess it's just experience, and the more a horse sees something, the more relaxed that they can get about it, But yeah, I mean, he would, at first he was scared of water trays, thought they were going to kill him, Now they're not an issue, It just, you have to find what their weaknesses are or whatever, and you have to work on them. And yeah, that was basically his only weakness, really. How
frequently would you ride him in the school, and how often would you jump him between shows?
Yeah, I think, for example, if he had jumped, say, for example, a Saturday, Sunday show, so if he had jumped competition Saturday, Sunday, I think, it's important to hack the horse out the next day, bring him, like I would hack the horse out. Basically you're giving him a bit of light work and just freshen up his brain. You've worked him, he's jumped at a competition. That can be stressful for a horse. The travelling can be stressful. You've got to really think about how they're feeling, and I think it's important that they go out and relax, and hacking out can be a really good way of relaxing a horse and just getting them to switch off.
And it gives time for the muscles to recover.
Absolutely. I think, if you've been not only jumping for 2 days, but the travel as well, horses can get tight in the muscles, and You know, they can be slightly sore the next day. You know, it's like us. If we go and run a marathon, we're sore the next day. You know, so it's the exact same for horses. So we have to think about how they're feeling, and yeah, they want a little bit of light work for sure on the Monday, and whether that be hacking out or jog down the road or whatever. I think that's important. Then Tuesday, I would always like to do a bit of flat work on Tuesday and bring out any still tight muscles or whatever, and really, you know, just work on that a bit. You know, it's you know, I feel that we have to be a little bit like physiotherapists as well. You know, if a horse is a little bit tight on the right rein, then you have to just work and ask a little bit more, and then carry on as normal, then ask a little bit more, and then carry on as normal, and then they loosen up. Say Wednesday, for example, my horse may go on the canter track, and you know, I'll work a little bit more on their cardio work, and I think this is important to really get, you know, enough air into the lungs. The gallop's a massive important thing. I mean, yeah, Sanctos, for example, before Spruce Meadows, I mean, I really worked him up the gallops a lot. I mean, he was going twice a week up the gallops, and we really worked on his fitness, and he's a horse that has to be.
So we're on to Thursday in the week then?
Thursday, so yeah, Thursday would be a day of, say, a young horse. I would give them a little jump. You know, for example, what we'll do today is like a Thursday for us, you know, for a young horse, for example. And then Friday, I think you have to think about the show that's coming up. So I wouldn't overwork them on Friday, because if they're going to be jumping Saturday, Sunday, then I think it's important that you have to work the horse, especially a young horse, make sure they're listening to you, maybe work them on the flat, have them lengthening, shortening, you know, work on all the things that you need to work on for the show, and then yeah, make sure you're not taking too much energy out of them on the Friday, because a young horse has got the travelling to deal with, the stress of it all. They can be standing on the lorry for a few hours if they're at a day show, and then competing, you know. So yeah, you have to just always think about what you're doing, you know, think about your horse and think how the horse feels. You know, that's just a typical kind of weekly plan, but okay, it does change on what I feel, you know. If the horse feels tired, then we go a little bit light work for a few days. If he's full of beans and things, he might need more work, you know, and more like a lot more work on the Friday before a show. You have to see what your problems are and work on them, you know.
So we're going to have a look at you having a pop round on
Yeah.
Junior here. You mentioned that warm-up was very important. We're watching you canter here. How long would you be cantering for, and are you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think warm-up is so important. You have to work through their muscles. You know, here I'm just up off his back, letting him canter forward. I think it's very important to be up off the back, to be working this part of the horse especially. That has to be strong for your jumping, you know. So especially up the gallops, I get into what we call a 2-point seat, a bit of a light seat, and really let the horse canter forward on the gallops, whereas in the school we might do a little bit more shortening work. So again, as I said, whatever we do on one rein, I always try to do on the other rein. Try and make sure my horse is as equal as possible on both reins. Often when I'm riding, I think you have to work through the German training scale. I think it's always a very good thing to be thinking about and working on. Even with your young horse to your older horse, the German training scale is a very, very good basic thing of what you work on. So like rhythm is number one, you know, your horse has to be in a rhythm before you can do anything else. You know, you can't start shortening a horse if he's not in a rhythm, you know. After rhythm you have balance, It's if your horse is in a rhythm, then you cannot achieve balance without being in a rhythm, you know. So all these, you know, if you go through the stages of the whole German training scale, I think you can always be thinking about it and working on it. You know, like at the very end is collection. Start with a small vertical, jump a couple of times off the left rein, for example, then always a couple of times off the right. Build the horse up. If the horse doesn't feel right, or if you feel you've made an error, then keep it at the same height and just come and jump again. Okay, so it feels pretty good, you know, feels, I don't mind when they have a little skip and a buck or whatever after the fence, because to me that means I know that my horse is happy and fresh, and that's important. So I never mind when they want to have a bit of a play after the fence, as long as when we want them to listen, that they are listening, you know. Okay, have a little oxer there, please, Kelly. I think even in the Clifton ring, in the warm-up, even when you have the oxer against this side, it's still important to try and do the same off of both reins. So I always think that's very, very important for a horse. A bit wider there, please, Kelly. Consistency is a massive thing, so they don't want to be standing off a fence 1 minute and then too deep the next, and then they can't get their timing right. And this is very, very important. So we have to work on that all the time. We have to work on our aids. We have to work on the pressure from the leg to hand. You know, we have to work. There's so many aspects that you can work on, and it's never perfect. You know, there's always something to work on. Okay, so that was okay, but he jumped a little bit to the right, you know, so I would just want to come and jump that again. Open up my hand. I think he's jumping to right because the camera's there, but still, you get cameras in the ring. He has to learn as a young horse that he's going to get that, and he has to deal with it and not spook at it. So I'll open my hand slightly. Okay, a bit better, but still done what he done before, which was jump a little bit to the right. So again, I would just repeat the exercise, repeat it, do it again. I can help him by opening my right hand, using a touch more right leg, keeping him straighter. Good. And always should always reward the horse, and they need to know when they've done right.
And Scott, working them in between shows at home.
Yeah.
This is where you can try and work on everything in terms of accuracy, because with the greatest will in the world, a younger horse in a show, you're perhaps not going to meet every fence in the ring perfectly, and he's going to make mistakes in the ring.
Absolutely, yeah.
So how important is it for everything to be, almost as perfect as you can get it at home, for that to transfer to the ring? I mean,
it's so important, and also you're correct what you say, but also you can do everything completely right at home. You can do everything this exact same at the show, but your horse really reacts really different. And suddenly when you've put your leg on, that the horse always moves off your leg at home, you put your leg on at a show and it's going backwards because he's scared of everything, you know. That's something we have to deal with, and it's all about feel, you know. You have to feel what your horse is doing. Sometimes they need more leg, sometimes they need less leg, but the more correct signals that we send the horse, and the more times that we're accurate and the horse has jumped a fence or whatever and it feels good about it, the more often that happens, the more the horse starts trusting the rider, and then the partnership evolves. So then you start getting a more consistency in everything that you do. And then, but yes, that is young horses, and again, that's being patient. You have to expect that. Horses don't go out and are just perfect straight away. Not like a 12-year-old. You'd expect a 12-year-old to come and everything be a lot more consistent at the show to what it is at home. But yes, you're right. Everything has to be dead right at home. Everything has to be right at home before you even think about going to a show. Once it is all right, you have to keep doing the correct signals, the correct aids, everything right at the show, and eventually you'll get what you feel at home at a horse show. But it does take time, you know. What we have here is like from your oxer to your oxer, there is a level 6 strides. From your Rolex to the doubles, level 5. From the double to the oxers, level 4. So we've got 4, 5 and 6 strides. One off the left, one off the right, you know, straight line as well. But this exercise, you can jump everything either way. You can choose the line that you go, so you know, you can do a dog leg this way, or you can go straight line, dog leg the other way, or straight line. You know, you can put a few things together. So I think it's a very good exercise for a young horse and an older horse, really, to be working on everything, but to work on landing them on the correct lead, to being in the correct rhythm. You know, there's everything that you want to work on is in this exercise. So I think it's quite a good exercise to work on, really.
And are all the distances absolutely as they would be at a show?
No, all the distances are perfect.
Okay, so you don't build them shorter.
So they're level. So for a young horse, they're level. But okay, if I was working on maybe an older horse, I'd maybe play about with the distance a bit, have it shorter or longer, what you would more see at a show, because the course builder loves to catch us out, so he wants to build a short line or a long line or whatever. But a young horse at this stage, I would just be asking them very simple. I'd want to get this all perfect first before I start playing about with different shortening and lengthening of strides, you know. So I want to just go down and do this corner again because he rushed round it. Things like that you have to, there we go, that's better. You know, you've got to practice things. You know, if they don't come round a corner, if they don't go into a corner, you know, if you're at home, you can just do a circle. Go, you know, do a circle, get them more into the corner than they wanted to, you know. If they're shying away from a corner, there's no harm in taking your time, doing another circle, pressing into the corner more. Because it's so important at a horse show that they go into the corners, indoors especially. Oh. Okay. Okay, I was a little bit deep at the black oxer, but he really was a bit spooky there, so I'll just go and jump it again. Okay, and there he's kind of ran round the corner wrong, so do a circle, get him into the corner more. As I said, it's probably with the cameras, lots of different things, but these are all, you know, excuses. The horse still has to go into the corner and do everything, because as I said, you will come across these sort of things at shows. There'll be a timing equipment that's there that's in the way, but the horse still has to stay focused. Good, and don't worry if I never worry if it's wrong. You just have to keep working on it, you know. So I might just keep doing this until the horse does it better, you know. And that's the only way you make improvements, by practicing, you know. Good. Okay, so that was pretty good there. So I reward him, you know. That's what we're expecting from him. and then I might give him a rest for a minute, let him catch his breath, let me catch mine. Although we're working on the jumps, you know, it's more, for me, it's more about getting him into that corner, getting him into the new environment of cameras and things like this that he has to get used to at a show. You know, it's a perfect, you know, it's a good training day for this horse, because, you know, quite often you don't see cameras and things until you get to that
yeah, you can have a photographer quite close, can't you?
Yeah, that's right. You have, and quite often over some fences you get click, 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 you know, and the horses don't, you know, they're not used to it, so they get a bit afraid of that. So, you know, it's a good opportunity to be working on that. So I'm just going to do the whole exercise and just see how he goes. Okay, so even there, you know, I wasn't really happy about that, you know. I just asked him to canter, and he cantered 3-4 steps later than when I asked him. So I come back to walk, I ask him again, it'd be a bit, yeah, good. Things like this you have to work on every day, you know. There's always something to be working on, you know. This horse, he jumps great and things, but there's so much still to work on, so much to get, for him to get better with. And it's very important that when you ask the horse a signal, when you ask him to move off your leg, for example, when you ask him to canter, you want it to happen now, you know. You don't want it to happen 3 strides later. You know, what happens when you're in front of a fence and you have to ask the horse to lengthen? He has to lengthen now, not 3 strides later, or you're going to be, you know, wrong at the fence. So these are sort of things you practice every single day. The horse has to be responsive. You know, you want to be able to just think about cantering and the horse canters, you know, and it's you have to get them to that stage, that training stage, for you to be successful in the ring, I believe. Good. Okay, give him a pat. And I think to myself, okay, how was that, you know? Was it good? Was it bad? What could I do to make it better? What could I do to improve it? And then give him a minute, and then we'll do it again and try and improve what we think's wrong, you know? And I think it's so important that, like, there's always something that can be better. It's our job as a rider to make it as easy as possible for the horse to jump the fence. So we have to present them to that fence in the correct takeoff point, in a rhythm, balanced, straight, all these things for the horse to be able to have his best chance at jumping the fence clear. I'll start with the double. But again, I've been wandering around for a little minute. It's another fault I quite often see is you can be hanging around a minute, and then it's important to get your horse back and get him forward in your canter before you start again. You know, many times you have to get into the ring and get into a rhythm before you go to number 1. It's so important, you know. Nice forward rhythm before you start. Good. Okay, so I'm a lot happier with that time, that round. He felt like he was going into the corners better. The rhythm felt better. As I said before, I think it's obvious that the jump is never a problem with him. He's very talented in his jump. He has everything we have in a young horse. That's all the attributes are there to be able to work on. So then it's up to me now to try and educate him properly, work on his weaknesses, which are his spookiness a little bit, work on that, take my time, be patient, and hopefully we'll produce another Grand Prix horse. It's so important to warm your horses down the same as you warm them up.
I was going to ask you, so I noticed you finished jumping, but you maintained your canter for a good couple of minutes.
Yeah.
That's deliberate, is it, to let them?
Yeah, I think it's so important, and also important for the horse's brain. The horse has to learn to be relaxed after the fence. You know, you can't just jump a course and then pull them up. You know, then you're not getting relaxation or anything. You have to think about everything you're working on again, get the horse back relaxed before you stop. You know, you always want to make sure that you're giving the horse a good experience. You want him to be happy to come in here and jump round a course and be excited and buck after a fence, you know. I think it means that the horse is excited to do it. You know, if you aren't having the horse relaxed and things, then the horse doesn't want to come in here. He doesn't want to come in and jump, you know. So I think that's important.
And here, Scott, you're trotting again, good few minutes trotting on a long rein. You're letting him stretch again. Is that deliberate in the cool down?
Yeah. I think it's important for the horses to go long and low, and just work on warming down their muscles. It's like us. It's like athletes. You can't run 100 meters and then just go and jump into your bed. You know, you'll be very sore the next day. You know, so your warm down is so important. Stretch off the muscles, and to stretch off his head and neck muscles, you need a longer rein. You want them to go longer and lower.
And when you come out after competing, Scott, do you trot back in the collecting ring?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I spend 10 minutes at least cantering and trotting, and then we walk them off for probably another 10 minutes again, you know. So we have to take care and think about the longevity of our horses, you know. We still want them to be competing at 16, 17-year-old at the highest level, so we have to, even from 4-year-old, you know, when you start working a horse, you know, you have to be thinking about their muscles throughout their whole education of their life, you know. If you have a sore back when you wake up, you know, you're grumpy, you know. It's the same with horses, you know. If they're sore, they can be grumpy and things, you know, and it's we don't want that. We want to be looking after them, and every horse is different, you know. Some horses have to you have to spend longer warming them up and down, you know. Other horses not, you know. It's just you have to feel what's happening underneath you, you know.
Scott, what are your top tips for keeping your horse fit and well in between competitions?
Number one, you have to be patient. You have to be patient with everything you do in young horses, patient with older horses if they're injured, and take time on bringing them back. You know, if you rush a horse back from injury, they're only going to get injured again if you don't be patient and take your time. Every horse needs variety in the work, you know. You can be working on things on flat work and for a few days, but then for sure they have to be hacked out. They have to do road work to, I believe, to harden up their legs to prevent them from injury. They have to go up gallops to help their fitness. They have to jump a little bit, grid works, different exercises, work on your weaknesses so that you can make improvements to go better at the show. Supplements are very important, but I think every horse needs muscle building supplements. I mean, I think Equitop Myoplast is a fantastic product. where the muscles get the amino acids to, you get amino acids to generate more muscle, and it's so important in every horse, from a young horse to an older horse that's out jumping every week.